What's up, Dialed fam, and welcome to the low back rehab video. I'm very excited to share this with you because I think it's going to help tremendously if you are experiencing low back pain. And unfortunately, this is very common for cyclists, whether it's just on the bike, post-ride, or something you carry out through your day-to-day life. I've had to help a ton of cyclists address this low back pain. And even though there's a lot of reasons for it and potential causes, we're going to go with the one I've noticed the most, which is deactivated lower abs and glutes. These two muscle groups right here, the lower abs and the glutes, when they're firing correctly, they take a lot of heat and support the low back. When they're not firing correctly, when they're not turned on and active, your low back tends to compensate, and that can be a lot of where that pain is coming from. So we're gonna use this first video, the basic overview video, to address those simple foam rolling, stretches, and activation drills that you can implement into your week. And then we have a second video to target your psoas specifically that includes lacrosse balls and some other equipment, because that's a whole other probable cause of this. And if you feel like you need more after doing this video, I would add that to this. So make sure you have some water, some hot tea, coffee, or even some late night tequila, and let's get into this thing. You're gonna grab your foam roller, and we're gonna start by foam rolling your glutes. Now, sit directly on top of the foam roller. First thing, I'm gonna take my right ankle and put it on top of my left knee as my right arm goes out to the side. So foot comes up, I'm gonna grab it with the opposite hand and just kind of anchor it in right here. And you're slowly gonna roll up from the bottom of your butts toward your belt line. And so when you dip your knee over, you'll notice that you expose more of your glute max to the roller. And that way you can hit some spots, find some spots that you couldn't if you were just completely upright. So drop the knee, you're gonna roll up and down slowly. And what I like to do if I find a spot that really jumps out, mine's a little higher toward my belt line here, that's when I'll actually dip the knee more toward the ground and back to the top. You can repeat for a few reps until you feel it dissipate. Or you could pause and then even roll up and down just an inch at a time, making sure you relieve that knot. Holy smokes. We're gonna spend another 20 seconds on this side. Now the real trick with foam rolling is making sure that you can breathe through it. Because if you're just tense, that knot's probably not gonna go anywhere. You gotta breathe it out. Now, let's come out of this nice and slow. We're gonna switch to the other side. We'll roll back into position here. Now, left ankle's on top of the right knee. I dip over, and this side's worse than the first one. Okay. We're gonna be working on activating these glutes that you're rolling out at the moment. But we're starting this just to increase blood flow, make sure there's no knots that are gonna prevent us from engaging the muscles that we want. If it's too locked up through your hips, it's gonna be harder to activate. Yep, that's the sweet spot for me. I'm just gonna sit, hang out, breathe. Another 20 seconds before we move on. Coming out nice and slow. Now, give me some core engagement. We're gonna roll straight to your back. And our goal is gonna be actually to roll the upper 2/3 of your back first. And then after that, we're gonna focus on your low back and add some movement. So abs are tight, elbows on the roller, up to your upper back. I'm gonna cross my arms, give myself a nice little hug. Tell myself I love you. I love you, Derek. Way to take care of yourself, boy. Oh, geez. Now I'm gonna sit in my upper back real quick. Now, you may be thinking, okay, it's a low back video, why are we spending time up here? You have to remember, everything is connected. And we wanna make sure that we, if anything, create some slack in the line for the low back. And that's why we go all the way up here to your upper back. Funny story for you, but I've actually worked with a client in the past who had crazy Achilles pain, and it developed after a bikepacking trip. It was like 300 miles in almost just over 2 days. Came back with this Achilles pain, and after months of rehabbing the Achilles, what finally fixed it was foam rolling his upper back. True story. It was just like a light switch went off, and he had the slack in the line, and all that pain in the Achilles went away. It was wild. Arms by my head, I'm going a little lower under my shoulder blades. And now we're gonna roll all the way back. I'm just gonna reposition here. To your lower back, abs are engaged, shoulders on the ground. Now from here, you might be feeling your erector spinae muscles. These are the two long muscles that run up and down the sides of your vertebrae. And what you're gonna do with your feet planted flat are windshield wipers. So you're gonna drop your knees over, and that's gonna push one side of that erector spinae into the roller, and you might feel some relief. You should feel a stretch through the top side of your hip, which is also great because it can even work its way through your psoas. After about 5 seconds, slowly switch to the other side, drop the knees over. Notice my shoulder blades stay flat on the ground. The only movement I have is from my torso down. Roll into the sides of my feet. We're gonna drop it over. Getting a nice stretch. We're gonna do 3 on each side. Last one on each side. I'm lowering my foam roller a little bit. You really just want it above your tailbone. Make sure it's not digging into any bone, but you might notice that the first meaty spot you find is the sweet spot. Now I'm gonna do some baby wipers, back and forth, massaging that erector spinae. And from there, I'm going to press through my feet, scoot the roller out, and just relax on the ground. Oh yeah, let the back settle. Now, our goal from here is going to be to start activation. So I'm gonna make myself some room, get this foam roller out of the way. First thing we're gonna do is a wide leg hamstring stretch, or that's what it looks like at least. We're really gonna be focused on stretching your QL, your quadratus lumborum. This is a muscle that's even deeper than the erector spinae and tends to sit right about here, or that's where you'll at least feel the tightness if you have any. So you can grab a band if you can't reach your toe with your opposite hand. But the most important thing about this movement is really reaching with your opposite hand. If I was doing a typical hammy stretch, I might just throw left foot, arm on left foot, or left hand on left foot. But I'm gonna really reach and fight to go right hand, left foot. And that's when I relax the inside of my body, ooh, and round my back, that's when I feel it. So grab yourself some assistance if you need it. I don't want your hamstrings to prevent you from getting a good QL stretch. So you can wrap this around your foot. Just remember, you're putting the emphasis on the opposite arm reach. Let's go ahead and hold it for about 30 seconds here. Breathe and sink. I'm gonna grab my toe. Sometimes it helps too to twist your chest open toward the ceiling. You might feel that more through your obliques and your lat. But remember, you're relaxed on the inside of your body, you're breathing, you're trying to feel it through that opposite side of your back. Another 5 seconds here. Coming out nice and slow. I'm gonna reach to the other side. Make sure you're breathing. Just a reminder to reach with that opposite hand. I just caught myself slipping. I want you to give me another 10 seconds. Coming out nice and slow. Beautiful. Now, let's go ahead and get into the activation. First things first is a posterior tilt. We're gonna do 10 reps of this posterior tilt. You're going to lay flat on your back with your feet planted. Now, if you notice when you lay back, you might have a gap under here, or if anything, you have an interior pelvic tilt. So your back is arched up a little bit. Your goal is going to be to completely flatten that space in your low back and press it into the ground. And you're gonna do that by engaging your abs and rotating your hips back. So you're tucking your hips under, you're tightening your stomach, and you're pushing your low back into the ground. So from here, I could almost just get my tailbone off of the ground if I really contracted, but we're gonna do 10 slow reps where you exhale, contract, and then release. So nice and relaxed. First one, here we go, ready? 1, tighten. Relax. 2, relax. 3, 4, 5. Really feel those low abs almost connecting to your hips. 6, 7, 8, tight low abs. 9, and 10. Now from here, I want you to keep some low ab engagement, and we're going to do a glute bridge. So think about having 50% engagement of the low abs. Remember, muscles aren't on or off. You can slowly, it's like a dimmer switch. So I want you to dim it up to 50% engagement. From here, I push through my heels and I squeeze my butts. I literally want you to squeeze your cheeks, okay? Right here, squeeze them, press the hips up, some light engagement, feel the hamstrings slightly, back down, tap, back to the top. We have 10, bring it up for 3. Squeeze your butt. 5 more, focused on your glute max, good contraction. I know this isn't a heavy exercise, but your contraction can really control some of that stimulus. We just want to wake these guys up. It can be 2 more. Now, a small tweak to hit the sides of your hips. This is your glute medius. You're gonna go open up your legs, have the sides of your feet on the ground, and we're gonna push hard through the outsides of our feet. We're going to drop the knees toward the ground and push our hips off of the ground, getting a stretch through the hips, feeling the glute med engaged. So it's gonna be more on the side of your hip here. Bring it back down, back up to the top. We have 10. Now I'll confess, this is about as close as I'll get, or I'll admit, it's not really a confession. This might be the closest I get to a booty Instagram influencer ever. I hope so, at least. Next to a butt selfie in the mirror, I really don't know what looks weirder than a grown man doing this. But it's effective. And I apologize for any explanation you have to give your significant other or your kids if they walk in and they see this. Drive it up. We got 1 more. To the top and down. And that's it. We're gonna roll back to our seated position. We activated our low abs with the posterior tilt. We did our 2 glute bridge variations, activating the glutes. And now we're gonna go back to the QL stretch. Remember, you have your band option. We're gonna hold for 30 seconds on each side. Go ahead and start that now. You're reaching with your opposite hand. I'll tell you what, even if you don't have low back pain, this just feels good. I'm working purely off an internal clock right here. If you want to time me at home and tell me how close I am to 30 seconds, I'd be curious. And come out nice and slow. Other side, let's reach it. Another option for you, just bending those knees. Your hip flexion might come into play there. But it can also just help you focus on that low back, that QL that we're trying to hit. Coming out nice and slow. Okay, we're back to the posterior tilt. So remember, tucking the hips underneath, activating the low abs. 10 reps. Nice and slow. Exhale. For 1. Nice and tight. I'm on 7 right here. We got 3 more. Beautiful. We're going into our glute bridge. Feet are flat on the ground. You're gonna squeeze your butt, drive your hips up. Remember, light engagement of your stomach. Back down. Drive it up. Back down. Easy way to advance this is just to go single leg. You can reach your leg out, adds a lot of core, adds some heat to one side of your body. Only if you need it, don't feel obligated. Now we're gonna roll to the outside of our feet. Remember, as you drive up, knees go down, we get a stretch, we activate glute med. 10 reps, here we go. That's the last one. Bring it down, we're gonna roll it up for round 3. This will be the 3rd and final round. Legs are nice and wide. I take an inhale, ooh, a little head rush on the way up. See, you don't even have to pay for drugs. This is it right here. You do enough activation and you'll get lightheaded. Let's reach it out. Feel free to pause and hold this longer. You can also finish the entire session with this. We have another stretch we're gonna follow up this round with, but if this is something that you feel like you wanna hang out for a few minutes, that's totally fine. I wouldn't recommend a 2-minute static stretch hold, maybe right before a max deadlift, but other than that, I think you're gonna be okay. Go ahead and switch to the other side. There's a lot of, it's not really debate, but it's been proven that static stretching before lifting can impair your performance. But if you look at the studies, you have guys who held, 30-second, 2-minute just static stretches and then immediately went into their max lifts. I mean, heavy, heavy, heavy. And I don't want to say it's not an accurate study, but I mean, who does that anyways? We'll use some common sense now. But I will say, if you have some chronically tight muscles, sometimes it takes a static stretch to really just loosen it up enough for you to feel free to move. I experienced that a lot with my IT band, unfortunately, but it's just the way it is. And I know if I didn't hold that stretch, it'd be a lot harder to get started on that workout. So don't overthink it. Okay, back to posterior tilt. 1. Remember, mind-muscle connection, trying to actively engage those abs. Last one for me here. Nice and tight. Good tuck. And into the glute bridges. Drive it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't get complacent. Think about squeezing and activating your glutes. Totally normal to feel the hamstrings. Remember, pressure in the heels is gonna help you accomplish that. Last 2 here. Back down. Okay, we have our final Instagram booty builder. Knees out wide, on the sides of your feet are together, drive the hips up. It's 5 right here. Last 5. Count them down with you. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Back down. Awesome work. Now, we are gonna go to a glute specific stretch. This is a pigeon stretch. We're gonna hold each side for just over 30 seconds. Feel free to extend your hold. Roll it up. You're gonna bring one foot across your body. It doesn't have to be parallel, but the higher your foot is, the more you're gonna feel your hip. I like to find a spot kind of right in between there. And the most important thing is that you roll your hips on top of each other, or you at least straighten them out, if that's a better visual for you. And then you sink down nice and low. Okay, I don't want you over here just sitting on your side. We're on top, we're sinking down. And you can stay up here on your hands, that's totally fine. Sometimes you can get even better leverage this way, but do it at whatever's comfortable. I'm gonna go down to my forearms. Just hanging out. It's one of those moments where I'm like, do I really get to sit in a pigeon stretch for my job? This is so cool. I hope you guys are enjoying this, and I hope this really brings you a lot of relief. We're gonna come out nice and slow and switch sides. This has helped clients of mine a ton over the years. And I hope it'll do the same for you. I know that adding this on top of regular mobility, so let's just say your 2 total body strength training workouts that you're doing per week, maybe you're even doing 3, adding this as a 3rd session on top of your already pigeon stretching and other mobility work should hopefully be enough to really just put you past that point you need to recover. Years and years of just this tight low back. And I will say, if 1 time a week is not enough, you could even do it a couple times a week, or add this to your warm-up in even a modified way, and do it consistently enough to where then you could slowly back it off. It might take 3 times a week, and then you back down to 2, and then back to 1, and then maybe you just check in on it every time you work out. We're gonna come out nice and easy. Now, As I mentioned, we just addressed probably the most common issues I've seen with low back pain in cyclists, but we have the bonus video that's gonna target your psoas and also help get into your erector spinae and your QL a little bit with some lacrosse balls. So go ahead and add that to your routine if you feel like you need some more help. If not, continue up with this, and I hope it helps. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And with that being said, start moving forward. I'll see you in your next workout.